Welcome in, everybody, to Illini Drive. I'm your host, Josh Pietsch, joined today with Patrick Catezone. Brendan Jones couldn't be here today because he has a final this evening. Good luck to Brendan. Patty, thanks for joining me. Patty's the host of the Oski Talk podcast, knows all things sports. How you doing, Patty?
I'm good, Josh. How you been?
Not too bad. Pretty busy with finals week, but we're just about done now.
Yeah, same here. Shout out Brendan. Good luck on your final, man. I hope you succeed.
Yeah, Brendan's the big 21 now. We were both at the celebration last Friday. It's a good time. All right, we're going to start with a little bit of NFL news. They had the week 1 schedule release earlier today, and then I think the rest of the schedule is coming out in like the next hour or something like that. But for the Bears, they're playing week 1 Sunday Night Football at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams made a big trade for Matthew Stafford from the Lions earlier this offseason, which is pretty highly anticipated team now. But on the Bears side, all the hype is going to be around who the quarterback is, because obviously the Bears drafted Justin Fields with the number 11 pick. It's him or Andy Dalton. Patty, we were talking about it a little earlier. What do you think about the situation?
Yeah, I mean the NFL is daring Bears and Matt Nagy to start Justin Fields in game 1. They give him the Saturday night game against the Rams, a team that you want to beat, and generally Nagy's had their number in a couple games. So NFL wants them, I guarantee you, to start Justin Fields. I think Nagy will, and Pace for that matter, will start Fields in game 1. I know you think that's a controversial take, but I think with that kind of game, with the pressure on those two, if Fields comes out of Hallis Hall looking like the quarterback that he was in that Clemson game, he gets game 1.
All right, I'll start by saying this. Usually if you're not the number 1 or the number 2 pick in the draft, you don't start week 1. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa last year didn't start week 1. Neither did Justin Herbert, who got picked 6th. Look at Patrick Mahomes, who got drafted 10th, I believe. Sat out a year. Deshaun Watson did not start right away. Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the league now, was drafted 7th a few years ago by the Bills. He did not start right away. I wonder when the last time a QB that wasn't even drafted, I'll go in the top 5, started week 1. So I'll put that out there to start. Second off, Andy Dalton is getting paid $10 million for 1 year with the Bears. Apparently, they believe that he can win 10 out of the 17 games. I have no idea why Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy think that. I think that is idiotic. But with that being said, what Andy Dalton does bring to the team this year is at least starting the first 5 games, in my opinion, and mentorship for a young quarterback in Fields. Now, do Andy Dalton and Justin Fields play the same way? Absolutely not. Justin Fields is quick, more versatile, probably a little bit more accurate, but Andy Dalton was a former number 1 pick. I mean, he was okay with Cincinnati at times. He can throw the ball, and I think that he does have mentorship. For that reason, I think that not only should he, but Andy Dalton will start week 1. I think it's the obvious choice here. You're right. The NFL is daring them to start Fields, but if they do that, this was a franchise-changing pick. If you bring him in too early, he's not ready, he gets hurt. Imagine if the Bears go into L.A. that Sunday night, Fields plays terribly, they just get destroyed. It's a lot better if you have Andy Dalton in there than Justin Fields.
Dalton's got one thing on Justin Fields. He's a Rose Bowl winner, whereas Justin Fields is not.
From TCU, right?
Yeah.
He was a Horned Frog.
Yeah, he beat the Badgers. But back to the more important thing. I agree with you, and I think you go into the season with a great quarterback room. You got Foles in there, you got Dalton, and obviously, the young guy in Justin Fields. I think in preseason, you play those 4 games, and Nagy doesn't like playing the quarterbacks in those games. He didn't want to start Mr. Trubisky in any of those games, and I think that definitely hindered Trubisky's level in the beginning of the year, last year before that. Now you go into this year, he's got to, right? Like, there needs to be a quarterback competition between the 3 quarterbacks because all of them are capable of starting, I think, week 1.
I think that Foles is pretty much out of it, but yeah, I'm with you. It's still a 3-man race.
Yeah, Foles has got the real nice 1% chance, right?
Sure.
And in my eyes, Fields at 70, and then 29% goes to Andy Dalton, right? I think with that quarterback room, if Fields makes a mistake, you're comfortable in any week because that quarterback room can coach him up week by week and teach him how to be an NFL quarterback. I think the learning process is slowed by the fact that you have those 3 quarterbacks.
I agree with you. I think it's really interesting. I would say 70% Andy Dalton, not 70% Justin Fields, just because I feel like Pace and Nagy knew going into this draft that their jobs were on the line, especially Ryan Pace. But with that being said, even with Nagy, I really just don't think he's going to make the mistake of playing him too early. Because like I said, I feel like it's a nightmare scenario to put him in there too early. hinder his development, which could affect him for at least that year, maybe the second year too. What if he gets hurt too early? I mean, he's never played in an NFL offense before. He's never played in an NFL game. He hasn't even practiced yet. I really can't see Fields starting week 1. Is there going to be a lot of hype around Bears fans wanting Fields to start? Absolutely. I would want him to start, but I just still think the right thing to do is Dalton. And also, I think that Foles is out of it. I mean, the Bears posted on their Instagram like a month or two ago, QB1 Andy Dalton. Like, Foles is out.
Yeah, that's fair. And I will say this, a desperate man will do anything to survive. And I do think that Nagy is gone in the next 2 years. I think he's got 1 year Fields development, 1 year of Fields, and Pace for that matter as well. Fields, real deal. This is his year. But I think if you're Nagy and you think that you could win 10 games with Andy Dalton, you must think you can win the division with Justin Fields, right? You wouldn't draft him where you did. You wouldn't trade up for him. You wouldn't hype him up as much as you have without knowing that. And I think Justin Fields, thus far in the process, has wiped away any question marks that I've had, right? The questions were, his ethics, like, how good is he going to be? Is he going to be another Jamarcus Russell? Is that the right person I'm thinking of?
I think so.
Or he doesn't put in the work. I don't think he's that guy. And I think that was the only question for me. Really, I guess that's what other people said, but in my eyes, I don't know how you draft a guy like Zach Wilson in front of Justin Fields after watching what he did. And this was the biggest error for the Bears a couple years ago when they missed out on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Watson gave it his all in that championship game in 2014, 2013.
2013.
14.
I think you're when he beat Alabama. It was 2016,
Yeah,
so it was 15, 16, 17, I think.
Yeah. Regardless, in that national championship game against Alabama, he put his whole heart out there. Justin Fields did the same thing in these playoffs. So I really don't understand where those questions came in. But I'm not the guy scouting them. So I never understood that. But to me, Justin Fields was the second best quarterback in this draft.
Oh, 100% I agree with you. And I mean, we could talk all day about taking Trey Lance, which is a little bit more understandable, but Zach Wilson in front of Justin Fields, absolutely not. But like, you look at Fields' game, Patty, like, he has amazing feet. He has a very accurate arm. I know that you think he was the most accurate quarterback in the draft. He's strong. He plays through injuries. You see like him running full speed to block for his receiver that's so clearly going to score a touchdown. I mean, I don't understand how you can question it. I know that some people think that he's unhappy to be in Chicago, but if I'm being honest with you, I think he would have reacted the same way no matter who drafted him. He's a very serious guy. He's all business.
Yeah, he's all business.
But that said, like, I think he's going to work really hard. I think that he's a good leader. That's what I've heard. I mean, Ryan Day has said that this is a once-in-a-generation quarterback. I mean, most college coaches are going to say that, but I think there's something to it. So now I'm going to ask you, if he doesn't start week 1, when do you see the Bears? If Dalton, let's say, doesn't get hurt, when do you think the Bears will see Justin Fields starting for the first time?
Yeah, so Fields not starting. Bears get blown out in that first game, starting Dalton. Probably lose, estimating. They go 1-3. I think he comes in week 4. I think at that point, he is 8 games into the NFL season, essentially, with preseason. He's gotten enough reps. At that point, it's October. He's been with the team for, at that point, 5 months, 6 months. He's the starter. Dalton can surprise me, but I watched him on the Cowboys last year, and that was not a great offensive team, similar to the offensive team that we brought out there without Dak, I should say. Not great without Dak. Dalton was bad, and he had options. He had a great slot wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb that I personally love, but it didn't work out great there. So I don't have a lot of hope in Dalton.
I think that if he gets time to throw, Dalton can be okay because he has Allen Robinson to throw to. He has Cole Kmet. He has Darnell Mooney, who I love. They have Marquise Goodwin now, right, on a 1-year deal. And in the backfield, you have 2 guys that I also love in Montgomery and Cohen. So I think that you do have a pretty good offense to work with now, especially, Robinson staying the extra year for sure in that new 1-year deal with Godwin. But it's all going to come down to the offensive line at the end of the day for Dalton, right? Like, he's got a little bit of Kirk Cousins in him where he can actually hold his own and be good. Like, we saw it all the time in Cincinnati for a year or two when he had a really good offensive line. He went to the playoffs. Obviously, you face some good teams in the playoffs and you lose. You never got a playoff victory. But if the Bears' offensive line isn't good, you need a guy like Fields in there because he's just so more mobile than Dalton is.
And I think they improved the offensive line, and specifically when it comes down to offensive line. And I think Tevin Jenkins, the second-round draft pick out of Ohio State, is more of a protection guy. But if you mix in that run
Oklahoma
game,
State,
Oklahoma
right?
State, yeah. Did I say Ohio State?
Yeah.
Whoops. He's more a protection guy. But when you add that run game, and I want to say this too, you're absolutely right. The receivers, Marquise Goodwin's a little bit of an old man, but Darnell Mooney is he gets the 50-50 balls. I love him.
Oh, yeah.
I love him. So yeah, there's weapons on this team that Fields can work with, and hopefully Nagy shapes the offense to him. That's something that I think when he came in, we were like, oh yes, this guy wanted Mitch Trubisky. He had the offense ready. I don't know if that was the case. This was not the quarterback he wanted. He's got the quarterback that he wants. So this is it. It's either win or lose.
Maybe not in year one. I'd say year two. It's going to be better.
Maybe, yeah. That's fair. You're absolutely right.
Before we start talking about who the quarterbacks in the division could be in a year or two, I want to ask you about a clip that you showed me earlier. Was it with Justin Jefferson? Did he win Offensive Rookie of the Year? It was him or Herbert? I don't know, but Justin Jefferson very well could have won. He came from LSU, was an amazing receiver. The Vikings took him in the first round. Had Kirk Cousins throwing it to him, and he was asked on the radio today with Colin Cowherd, I think, about, Cousins and Joe Burrow. He compliments Joe Burrow. He kind of disses Kirk Cousins, actually, and then he says something about Justin Fields and how he would have been happy if the Vikings would have gone for him, and that having him in the division is interesting. So, Patty, I know you showed me it. You have some takes. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, one, don't diss your quarterback. That's a huge error on Justin Jefferson. He essentially did that. He said Kirk Cousins doesn't have swag like Joe Burrow does, essentially. And then he said, look, NFC North should be afraid because Justin Fields is now in it. And when you look across the board, who's the best quarterback in the NFC North? It's without Aaron Rodgers, which I think we're getting into later. Say Aaron Rodgers leaves, which is looking more and more likely every day. Who's the best quarterback? You got Jordan Love, Blake Bortles, one of those two, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, or Justin Fields /
and Dalton.
That is a power vacuum right there that the Bears could very likely take control of if Fields is the guy. And you make him the guy. But other than that, I like Goff. I think Goff in a good system, is a effective quarterback. But I know you're a Kirk Cousins, more of a Kirk Cousins guy.
Well,
but
I'll say.
Who do you think's the best quarterback?
All right, have the Bears absolutely destroyed Kirk Cousins and the Vikings over the last 2-3 years? Yes, and that isn't even questionable. I mean, Kirk Cousins has sold the bag against the Bears countless amounts of times. Even when the Vikings beat the Bears last year, Kirk Cousins didn't do anything in that game. And then the Bears go into Minnesota and just dominate, and Kirk Cousins can't do anything. He had like 200 yards and 2 picks or something like that. With that being said, when he has time to throw, because the Bears defense kills the Vikings, when the offensive line gives Cousins time to throw, he is really, really, really good. With Diggs, he had moments. With Thielen, he had moments. Now with Jefferson, he has his moments. I mean, He basically had the Offensive Rookie of the Year on his team, and he supplied great passes to him. I think that Cousins can be great if he has the offensive line, but I would never trust him in a playoff game where Goff has gotten to a Super Bowl before.
Yeah.
But he's just in such a bad system with the Lions. I mean, that's a bad franchise.
Yeah, it is. And he's got protection now.
He does have, you have the kid from Oregon who's going to be like that Notre Dame kid on the Colts now, the best in the league. Exactly. The best in the league in 2 years. So, yes, he has protection, but who's he thrown to? Kenny Galladay's always hurt, and that's the only guy I can think of.
Adam Thielen. Oh, you're talking about. Never mind.
I'm talking about Goff.
Cousins. I got Cousins on my mind because I want to share this stat with you. Kirk Cousins is 2-3-1 against the Packers in the past 6 meetings, and he's one of 2 quarterbacks in the last 2 years to beat the Packers at Lambeau. He named the other quarterback
to beat the Packers
at
Lambeau. In the division?
This team is not in the division.
So Rodgers has only lost to 2 guys
in the past 3 years. Last 2 years. He's only lost twice at Lambeau.
Is it Tom Brady?
No.
Let me think.
That was a great guess. But this one's tough one. Really tough one.
It's not going to be Drew Brees.
It's completely surprising. This guy's not even playing for the same team.
I have no idea.
Carson Wentz.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? What a stat.
How'd you find that?
I just looked up. I was curious what Kirk Cousins had done against the Packers. Because that's the most impressive record you could possibly have.
Carson
in
Wentz.
the NFC North.
Wow, I would
I
not
know.
have guessed that.
I know. So that's
When he was on the
thinking-
Eagles, I assume 2 years ago.
Yeah, it had to have been. Yeah. So,
How did the Eagles win a game? Never mind. Doesn't matter.
I don't even remember that game. I probably was laughing my butt off.
All right. Well, Fields is good. Dalton's going to start. Jefferson likes Fields. Now, most importantly, for right now, in my opinion, Rodgers could be out of the division. I mean, they go inside Blake Bortles today, who is not good. He spent some time on the Jaguars, sort of won a couple games, not really. Does this mean the Packers are anticipating that Rodgers is going to be gone?
Yeah, you're stacking. I think this is a move not necessarily to find the replacement for Aaron Rodgers, but to, like I mentioned for the Bears, you're stacking the QB room. You have Jordan Love coming in. You need somebody still mentoring him, clearly. From what we've seen in practice, he's not excellent. He's from what we've seen, he's not the replacement for Aaron Rodgers.
No,
but he's going to have to start this year. So I think it's a move just to stack that QB room, get him another mentor. I think Aaron Rodgers is out.
You really do.
I think so.
In my opinion, the most talented quarterback in NFL history. They're going to trade him.
I think they have to. I think it's over. I think that relationship is so burned. And they did it again this year. They had options to move up, try and take an offensive weapon for him, and they pass. They always pass. And they think they're in a good position enough where Jordan Love, where they can piss off Aaron Rodgers and be okay with it.
But now you have Devonta Adams, who's one of the best receivers in the league, saying that, he's not decommitting by any means his trust in the Packers. But with that being said, he said if Rodgers is gone, he's going to have to rethink his future. You could lose the best quarterback and the best receiver in the league all in 1 year if you trade Rodgers. But if Rodgers won't play for them, what other alternative do you have?
Right. And look, you're absolutely right. I think Devonta Adams is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Right?
For sure.
Last year certainly was. Look, if you're Devonta Adams, you're trying to have your guy, your agent, contact the Broncos or wherever Aaron Rodgers is trying to go. But I just think that they're so spoiled. They're with that relationship is so spoiled. There's no coming back. I really think he does not want to be here. And we know Aaron Rodgers has that personality where he's okay with sitting out of here and leaving.
That's so weird to think about. You're right, he does that. He absolutely
has that personality. He would do it.
He is a leader. I mean, his teammates like him, but he would totally do it. Now, I guess last thing before we go to break here in a couple minutes, where can you see Rodgers if he's not in Green Bay for the first time in his career?
I'd want to play for John Elway.
Yeah.
I think there's no other guy I'd want to play for if I'm Aaron Rodgers, and you have a great defense.
That's the Denver
led by
Broncos, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah.
John Elway's the GM right now?
Yeah. A guy who understands what it's like to stand in the pocket, which he does not have in Green Bay. Elway will get him the weapons. Elway will please him. He's done it before with Peyton Manning. So this is nothing new. I think he's going to Denver.
Would the Packers do that? Who are they getting back?
Who are they getting back?
Drew Lock
Draft
and
picks.
a bunch of picks.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of picks.
It'd be like a Paul George deal, just pile in all the picks.
Pile in all the picks. And Denver's not afraid to do that. I think Elway thinks he's good enough in free agency where he can get the guys he needs in free agency to compensate for draft pick giveaways.
I'll say this about John Elway. I mean, yes, he got Peyton Manning because that's, veteran quarterback to veteran quarterback right there. But after that, John Elway has not been a good GM. I mean, the Vic Fangio hire has kind of been botched. Who's not doing well. I mean, you had to do it, but it hasn't worked out. You haven't gotten a ton of weapons. You've drafted defense pretty well, but what weapons would Rodgers even have to throw to on offense?
He's got some weapons in the Packers. He's got Fant, Noah Fant. Let me look up their wide receiving core. It's pretty good. They got a lot. I'd be pretty happy. Let's see. First, you got Melvin Gordon playing running back.
That's good.
Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Judy's great. Yeah.
Tim Patrick in the slot. He's all right. Noah Fant.
It's not great, Patty. I mean, Jerry
Cortland
Judy's
Sutton
the most exciting guy
and
there.
Jeudy and Fant. Dude, Noah Fant's great though. You're throwing to a great tight end. He's got good. He's got good. He's gonna be fine in the pocket. I think that's the move that I'd want to go. And I think worst case scenario, he's trying to find Elway tries to find help.
If that happens,
And that defense is stacked. That defense is ready.
yeah, the defense is fine. So if that happens in 2 years, in my opinion, Justin Fields should and will be the best quarterback in the division. MVP Fields.
Yeah.
Why not? Lamar Jackson did it. Why can't Justin Fields?
There you go. Hey, there's the power vacuum in the NFC North. It's starting to clog up, and Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver for Kirk Cousins, is saying he's got no swag. Kirk Cousins is getting old, man, and Kirk Cousins is no Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. So Justin Fields, man, he's got a potential to be that MVP.
I think Robinson would stay if Fields has a good, 5, 6, 7 games this year. Maybe even 10. Who knows? 17 games is a lot.
Hey, yeah. Well, there's possibilities on this team, and there's guys still growing on the Bears. Why can't I think of our last tight end pick?
Cole Kmet. I love him.
Yeah. Another guy
Hometown kid, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I like it.
Who could really excel with Fields and in at quarterback.
I like it. All right, we're going to take a little break here. When we get back, though, Illinois lost a couple key assistants that they got to replace. That's going to be next on Illini Drive. Welcome back into Illini Drive. It's Josh Pietsch and Patrick Catezone here. Illinois basketball news. Kentucky came in and stole two very, very, very good assistants in Chin Coleman, and then more importantly, in mine and a lot of other people's eyes, Orlando Antigua, John Calipari, one of the best coaches in college history. He's got a lifetime contract. Stole two great assistants. Patty, it stinks.
It does. It's a big loss. It's a big loss for the Illini. You have Orlando Antigua a lot to thank for the recruiting that this team has been. Without him, I don't think this team is quite the same. Chin, same way, man. Chin Coleman can recruit the heck out of Chicago. To me, the bigger bummer a little bit is Chin Coleman, just because I think he takes away some Chicago recruiting talent. And I think the way that Kentucky wants to go is they want to win championships again, and not necessarily do it with one and dones.
I think that Orlando Antigua not only has developed big guys as good as anyone can do it. I mean, Kofi Coburn has been great in his development, a little bit with LaRon Black, and I was really excited for Omar Payne. We'll see who they try and replace him, but more importantly to me, his recruiting pipeline was amazing. I mean, Kofi Coburn doesn't come to Illinois if it's not for Orlando Antigua. Same with Andres Feliz. Same with Andre Curbelo. Same with now R.J. Melendez and Plummer from Utah. I mean, that was your whole entire recruiting besides Chicago. Like, yes, you have Chin Coleman, but I just feel like replacing Chin Coleman, which they already have, which we're going to talk about in a second, is a lot easier than replacing your guy that not only has the Puerto Rican pipeline, but can develop the heck out of big guys.
That is true. I think that is a bummer. I'm just looking at it more as I think a dang, we lost this guy. It's going to come back to hurt us recruiting, and I think that is Chin. You're absolutely right. I think development-wise, no one can compare to Orlando Antigua. That is going to be almost impossible to replace. Look what he's done with Kofi Coburn. That's right off the bat. You can make that claim. So. Yeah, it's a bummer. I have no clue who you do with Orlando Antigua, but I think the hire to replace Chin has been great.
So we'll get to that in a second, but I just kind of want to run, by you, like, why did these guys leave? Because you see Orlando Antigua, who was the assistant under Calipari when he was both at UMass and then at Kentucky. He leaves. He ends up being a coach at South Florida. It does not work. Comes back to Illinois, is, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's, the best assistant in the country. Orlando Antigua can be a head coach again. This is his stepping stone. He will be a head coach again. Chin Coleman just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, can you ever see Chin Coleman as a high major head coach in college basketball?
I think so. I think he has certainly potential in Chicago. I mean, if Northwestern ever lets go of Chris Collins, I think that's your guy.
Wow.
Chin Coleman. I think if you look around Chicago as well, Chin Coleman out of Kentucky can get a job at any of those schools. Horizon League, UIC, Chicago State, which he probably would never take that job. Loyola Chicago as a potential stepping stone for him. There are schools, I think, in Chicago and in Illinois that certainly would take Chin Coleman after Kentucky. So I think it's a little bit of a next step. Look, it is to play and to coach for Kentucky is special, right? Unfortunately it does not compare to Illinois. It is a top 3, top 2 program of all time. This is what happens when you get good. We just got to keep on hiring past it and keep on getting better. But I think it is, an upgrade for both of them.
It's really frustrating that, you're having this dream season, you get a 1 seed, you win the Big Ten championship. Since then, you get knocked out in the round of 32, Miller transfers, Georgie leaves, and now your 2 top assistants leave. And you're not having much luck in the recruiting area anyways. And now, hey, look at our 2022 guys. There are some studs in that class. Do you think that with Chin leaving, those guys could end up decommitting?
No. I actually think, I think that's one thing that is really, it's kind of tough to, talk about, just because I think a lot of people just see it as, oh, this guy recruited him. He's loyal just to this guy. I don't know if that's necessarily true. You recruit a guy to come here, to like the university, to like the head coach, to play at Assembly Hall. So I think there's a lot of, in recruitment, I think we get blind to it, that there's, not just the guy recruiting him. He has to do something to get him here anyways. That stuff is still here. So I don't think we'll see a lot. Maybe 1 or 2, though.
That would really, really stink if one or 2 decommitted.
We need all of them.
We do need all
everyone
of them.
that we have on the team.
And by the way, there are some guys in that 2022 class that are studs. I mean, whether they're a 3 or 4 star, I think that the lack of AAU games has really affected these rankings for ESPN 24/7, all the major media outlets that do that. There are some absolute studs in there, and you said it perfectly. We need all of them. All right, so moving on then. One replacement is done. I mean, Brad Underwood goes and brings in Chester Frazier, who was an Illini guard from 2005 to 2009. Defensive beast, was a grad transfer assistant at Kansas State under Bruce Weber, who he played for at Illinois. Goes to Virginia Tech as an associate head coach, and now he's young and he's an official assistant at Illinois. So you said it that it's been working out so far, Patty, but give me your analysis.
Of Chester?
Yeah.
Chester Frazier's great. I think a great guy to get. Unfortunately, the only bummer is that he spent a lot of time under Bruce Weber. But Bruce Weber found success in a place that is almost impossible to find success, Manhattan, Kansas. So good for him. He did a great job. He's done a great job at Kansas State. Even this year, I don't know who he upset, but he upset somebody. And then he goes to an extremely successful program in Virginia Tech. Chester Frazier is a guy that got hired out of college almost. That almost never happens. That goes to his character, his work ethic, and his ability to understand basketball. And those are the 3 things you need in a coach. He brings a lot to this team. He brings a lot of heart. This was the right alumni move. There was another alumni move that was rumored, which was the wrong one. Even in terms of Chester Frazier's legacy as an Illini, his performance in this job, I don't think takes away from his legacy. He'll still always be, a good Illini. So, good hire.
I think he was a fantastic defensive point guard, and that's exactly what he's going to coach up with anyone from standing 5'10" until 6'5", 6'6", in my opinion. You know that you're going to be scrappy on defense, which, hey, Illinois could definitely use with Curbelo and Plummer, 2 small guys that you're going to have to get the most out of defensively, especially if they're on the court together. But then, hey, he's had success recruiting, too. I mean, he got a Chicago kid that ended up helping on their Elite Eight run over at Kansas State. He's gotten some really solid guys at Virginia Tech, and now he comes here, little bit of a Chicago connection, and then he said on the media availability the other day, which some people took the wrong way, by the way, kind of weird, but he said Illinois is a lot sexier. He said that it's a sexier attraction than Kansas State and Virginia Tech. He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
But he went off and said, I played there. That's why I said it.
Well, yeah.
It's just, come on. It's a better program. It's a nicer program. You're coming off recent success. That's what he meant, but apparently some people didn't like it. But either way, I like the hire.
You can't. I mean, if you're Virginia Tech, Kansas State, this guy did a lot for you. You can't argue it. Look, it is, right? Illinois is a destination now, as it was before. And look, if you're an alumni, it's a sexy move to go back to your alma mater and coach there. So I don't blame Chester Frazier at all. I think you have to respect it. If a guy goes back to his alma mater, it's where they want to be. where they originally wanted to be. So, any fans out there that are upset, you suck.
Okay, that's a little harsh. I think that this is 100% the right move, and I think that I am very confident that Chester Frazier will be a Division I head coach one day. I really don't think there's any doubt about that, considering how far he's come as an associate head coach. I mean, now obviously he's an official assistant, but I think that until he gets a great job offer for a head coach, which shouldn't be for 5-10 years, he will stay at Illinois. Great recruiter, great coach. Yeah. I really think that Illinois made an awesome move here. Obviously, replacing a guy like Chin is almost impossible, but this is pretty much the best you're going to do, in my opinion. He's a good guy.
He is, and I want to credit Gabby Heiduk for this take. She told it to me, and I was like, "You're absolutely right." She was telling me, we were talking a little bit about the other alumni who was potentially rumored as Dee Brown, and she mentioned as well. She was like, "You know what? The thing is about bringing in Dee Brown is that it might ruin his legacy if it doesn't work out here, when he originally was in the athletic department, it didn't really work out, and he kind of left, didn't really say a whole lot about it. But if it fails." So for some reason it doesn't work out where he's not the assistant coach for us, it goes against his legacy. And the thing is, Dee Brown does not deserve that.
He doesn't deserve that. And I mean, listen, Dee Brown is one of the most special players in Illinois basketball history. I mean, he got the Sports Illustrated cover, for the 2005 tournament. Just a great overall player. He's a good leader, but you're right, it didn't work out the first time. Now, where is he? Is he at UIC?
UIC. Yeah, he's. I got a picture with him not too long ago when I went to some UIC games.
Oh, Patty.
Go Flames.
This is the right move. I didn't think that Dee Brown was going to be a good hire. He also hasn't gotten the best report card for his coaching so far, where Chester Frazier has gotten an A+.
He's gotten an A++
for his working so far. So
it would have been a bad move. I'm glad we didn't go that route. We still could go that route, though, placing Gentry.
So I was literally just about to say that Stephen Gentry is a guy that I think that you're just going to get someone along the lines of Chester Frazier, just not as good, maybe try and get a city connection. Some people, Patty, have said, what about Nick Irvin? He's an assistant right now at Western Illinois, and there's your Chicago connection right there because he is obviously was the former coach of Mac Irvin Fire, which is where Ayo Dosunmu came from, which is where Adam Miller came from, which is where Talon Horton Tucker played for a little bit before their falling out. He made the game-winning shot last night on the Lakers. There are some studs that have come out of there. What do you think about that?
What do I think? I think the move that I want is I want to trade Gentry. I don't think he's been signed on to Gonzaga yet, but we're pretty certain he's going to Gonzaga.
It was like Orlando Antigua a week ago. I mean, it's going to happen.
Let's trade Gentry for Roger Powell. We'll take Powell. They can get Gentry. That's a fair trade for me, and I would love Roger Powell. But Nick Irvin's interesting, too. Nick Irvin.
His wife just got hired as a Illinois women's basketball coach.
Assistant. Yeah. It's a great idea. Does it work out in real life? I'm not sure. And I don't like AAU basketball. Don't like how AAU basketball handles things. Don't like the drama. So I don't love that. But, yes, he could find success at Illinois.
It's really interesting.
Find success as a recruiter of Chicago.
That's why I asked you about it, because it's interesting. He'd kind of have a different role than Gentry did, but I think they're going to go and get a Gentry type of guy. Now, the next thing I was going to ask you about is obviously replacing Orlando Antigua, which is literally impossible with a period after it. But one of the guys that people have said is Roger Powell, because he's a Gonzaga now. He was a big guy for Illinois, lost in that national championship game in 2005 with Dee Brown. He's doing well at Gonzaga, but for me, I mean, I cannot see Roger Powell leaving Gonzaga. I think that it's a better program. He has something going there. He's done well with recruiting and player development. Do you think there's any shot we get him?
No, and now he could potentially be in line to take the Gonzaga job.
Mark Few.
Once Mark Few retires, which is, I think, why Gentry might also be moving over to Gonzaga. Now that, can you remind me who the Arizona
new basketball coach? I mean, now that Sean Miller's gone.
Tommy Lloyd.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Gonzaga, in Tommy Lloyd's most recent contract with them, had that he was to be the heir to Mark Few unless he went on to another team.
And that's what he did.
That's what he did. Now everyone is potentially the next heir of Gonzaga basketball. Good for Tommy Lloyd in Arizona, though. that's an unbelievable hire. That guy can recruit better than anyone in the country.
Yeah, because he's a cheater.
Oh,
I think so. But everyone's a cheater nowadays. If Will Wade has a job, everyone has a job.
Yeah,
How about
American
that?
gangster, Will Wade. Yeah, no, that's true. That guy's not cool.
No.
It's pretty cool how everyone calls him out on Twitter, though. I do like that, especially our favorite John Rossi.
Oh yeah,
The fact that he labeled him American gangster is just so funny. But yeah, I love that.
Before we go to break, I mean, do you have any idea who Illinois can replace Antigua with for like a big guy recruiting type of coach, or
Powell.
besides Powell?
No, I don't.
Me
I
neither.
don't have a name.
Same.
It's a bummer.
That's bad.
I love
the hot board's not too hot right now.
I know it's not, and that's okay. Underwood does not. I have no reason to doubt Underwood. He's not giving me one yet, so I won't.
He's only been here for 4 years. That's what people forget. I mean, it feels like Brad's been here forever, but he's literally 4 years into his tenure. Look at Leonard Hamilton at Florida State. It took him 8 years to make the tournament. Now they're on the verge of getting to that powerhouse range.
Yeah,
it takes a while.
The thing about FSU too, less money than we have.
For sure.
Their boosters put all their money into football, and their boosters don't have as much money as I believe we do. So
That's 100%, and it's funny because Florida State's basketball is so much better than their football team nowadays.
Yeah.
Illinois is going to be okay. I mean, we dump a ton of money into our football program, but look what they're doing with basketball too. I mean, where do they practice at? What's it called?
Ubben.
Yeah, look at all the money that just got poured into Ubben. I mean, they are gonna. Brad will get this right. There's a reason there hasn't been a hire yet. You know that Brad, Brett, and Josh Whitman all like to work quickly in their jobs, and I think there's a reason that Brad hasn't made a hire yet because he really wants to get this one right.
Yeah, he's got to. He got the first one right. Let's see who he's got also.
Real quick, is Illinois going to make the tournament next year with the roster they have now?
Yeah.
What seed?
7.
Yeah, perfect answer. You're a smart guy, Patty. All right, we're going to take a break, but when we get back, a little Cubs talk, a little White Sox talk, and a little bit about the Oakland A's, who apparently are thinking about relocating. That is next on Illini Drive. Welcome back into Illini Drive. Yesterday, it was announced that the Oakland Athletics are going to explore relocating, which is really weird because they play in the Oakland Coliseum, which everyone knows is a bad stadium. You know, it's old. It was the Oakland Raiders, football stadium. It's a lot of weird seats. Foul ground is huge. It's a pitcher's park. The hitters hate it. Now, Oakland's a good team, but they're just in a bad city. Patrick, do you think that they're going to stay in Oakland and go to a new stadium? Do you think they're going to go to a place like Montreal, Vancouver, Las Vegas is an interesting one, Nashville? Any ideas what this team's going to do?
So I think it's a smokescreen. I think Oakland is just, or the Athletics are just trying to, get the city of Oakland. I don't think it's city of Oakland. I think it's San Jose. They're trying to relocate to.
Oh, you think San Jose?
Yeah, I think that's where they want to put the new stadium. They're still going to go as Oakland, but I believe that's where they want to put a new stadium. It's just been clogged up in a lot of government work, and I think that they're sick of that. They want to speed it up, so they're saying they're going to move.
So I have a different take. I mean, I think that Oakland has been a sneaky good team over the last 4 or 5 years, whatever. They make the playoffs all the time. They were the 2 seed last year, and no one gave them any credit. But you have the Giants over on the other side of the bay who play in AT&T Park, which is now Oracle Park, and they sell out all the time. Oakland never sells out. Oakland's been a better baseball team than the Giants, but the fans just won't go away from San Francisco. I think it's time to leave, and I think it's time to go to Las Vegas because the Oakland Raiders went to Las Vegas. They're now the Las Vegas Raiders. They're doing well. Vegas is a super city. You're going to get fans. You're going to get a really, really nice new smart stadium. To me, this is actually an obvious one. I think that San Jose should definitely not be a destination spot. But
yeah, well,
what do you think about Vegas?
It's Bay Area, so I think that's more of their idea. But I agree with you. I would definitely consider moving to Las Vegas, just because you get a lot of money from gambling. You have a lot of casino work within the stadium, and yeah, I mean. Look, Raiders move there. I guess it makes sense. I don't love the fact that all these teams are moving to Vegas. To me, the fan base.
One team has moved.
2 teams.
They started a hockey team.
And yeah, okay, they got
and
2
they
new teams.
moved a football team.
2 new teams, but 1 team is moved. I just don't think you can build a genuine fan base in Las Vegas. I think a lot of it, Las Vegas is a destination town. So you go there to go have fun and go watch like football games and stuff now. I don't know if I like it as a baseball town. Also, they already have a baseball team. They have the Area 51s.
Yeah, okay.
I gotta look that up.
All right. Listen, I think that it's working out for the Raiders so far. I think that a baseball game would be a perfect way to start your day before going and gambling in whatever casino you're going to go to. And I really think that it could be a good sports town. Then if you do, Vegas just enhances its spot as a vacation place. I mean, not only do you have all the gambling, all the attractions there, but now you have sports too. And the only thing you don't have is a beach, which you're not going to get. It's not bordering a body of water. I mean, I really just think that Vegas is the absolute move here. I'm kind of surprised you're not with me. Carson and I talked about this yesterday, and we both loved it.
I don't love it, and I would like to correct myself. The team name was the Vegas 51s. They now are the Las Vegas Aviators, and they are AAA West and the AAA affiliate of the A's. So,
interesting.
Athletics are in Vegas. They have some type of operation there, I assume. So it's an interesting move. I don't love Vegas. Been there. I would definitely go see a football game or a baseball game there, but I just don't think you can build a true fan base. That being said, they have proved to be wrong thus far. But both teams, the Raiders haven't been good, and we haven't seen how many people come out, but the Knights have been good.
They made
people go out.
They made the Cup their first year, and we're selling out games left and right. The Raiders, I mean, we haven't gotten to see them with their fans yet. We'll see what happens this year because they'll be at full capacity, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, they'll be at full capacity, but yeah. I think that I don't know if they'll be. I don't know if they'll be packed. We'll see. I don't think the Raiders are going to be that good this year.
Well, me neither, but it's still Vegas and still Gruden and Derek Carr.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other cities I might consider? Charlotte.
Listen. Charlotte's not a baseball town. Nashville,
South, though.
Nashville, you have Vanderbilt, the team, but I really don't think that going to Nashville is going to be a good idea. You have the Predators there, whatever. Montreal can't do a baseball team. The idea that the Rays could go 50-50 in Tampa Bay and Montreal is a death sentence. Vancouver could be interesting, but I don't think Canada needs another team. I really like Vegas. Also, if you stay in Vegas or go to Vegas, you stay in the AL West. They don't have to move divisions.
That's true. Vegas is nice for that. That worked out well for the Raiders.
Yeah.
I just don't love Vegas. I don't know what it is, but I would definitely. I do think you could find a fan base in Charlotte. I think there's enough people that like baseball, at least at the collegiate level, that would be willing to watch it. Nashville would be interesting. I just don't think it's big enough. Yeah, I don't think it's big enough. City.
I mean, in Charlotte, you have your Carolina Panthers and you have your Charlotte Hornets. You're a baseball team away from the trifecta, and you have the Carolina Panthers. I'm sorry, the Carolina Hurricanes. I think in hockey, they have every team. So Charlotte could be okay. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think this whole thing's a smokescreen. I really think that they want to stay in the Bay Area. They're just trying to fast forward the move and get them to accept the new stadium.
Well, a big problem right now is the fans and the revenue. So do you think that if they go to another area near the Bay, they can still get people to come out and compete with the Giants for attendance? If they get this, it's also saying, I learned a lot about stadiums and what that means to fans in one of my classes this year. AT&T Park, which is now Oracle Park for the Giants, is a much better experience than the Coliseum. The Coliseum has absolutely nothing there. It's unnecessarily big. It's boring. So maybe if they get this new smart stadium and you're in a new town with new colors, maybe, new uniforms, it's exciting. Maybe you can sell some games out for your first couple years. I'm not sure how long it'll last, but you could.
You could. I got a new place, Portland.
Okay, no.
I don't know. I've been to Portland.
Me too.
I do like Portland.
My uncle lives in Amity, Oregon, which is half an hour away from Portland.
That's pretty hype. Portland, I don't know if you know this, but they used to have this minor league team called the Portland Beavers.
Okay. Oregon State Beavers.
Yeah, and it was an awesome team. Their stadium was so cool. It was built into the hill in Portland. I'm sure you've been. Portland's very hilly. Really cool place. So I saw a game there. I think not a lot of people were at the game, so fan base wouldn't be too strong. But Portland's a little weird, so it'd kind of be fun. I think Portland's
Portland's really weird.
Portland over Vegas.
I mean, my favorite
place.
NBA team's the Portland Trailblazers. It's because of Damian Lillard, but Dame Dalla. But still, like, let's be honest here, Patty. They're not going to Portland.
You got to rebrand the whole team, the Portland Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah, I have been to Voodoo Donuts. That is one of the best tasting things ever. That was like, have you been to Voodoo Donuts?
I've had a Voodoo Donut. It's
I had
excellent.
the Captain Crunch donut, and then I had some other one I'm not even going to remember, but that was amazing.
Yeah, I think I had like a bubblegum one, which is kind of weird. It's like strawberry with like a bubblegum on top. And then I had the voodoo one.
So
pretty hype.
our girls cross country team is a powerhouse back at home. I went to Naperville North High School, and cross country nationals in December every year are in Portland, Oregon. So they always, for like 3, 4, maybe even 5 straight years, they went to nationals, and they always got Voodoo Donuts. And there were a couple girls that I was friends with that would bring home Voodoo Donuts, and once I had a half of a Voodoo Donut, because the first time I had one was my freshman year of high school, and then 2 years ago I got another one. It's the best tasting thing ever.
It's
the
awesome.
Portland Voodoo Donuts. I love that.
There you
Patty.
go. There you go. That's what I was thinking. So I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, I think the logical place is San Jose. I think stay in the Bay Area. If Oakland doesn't want to make the stadium, you make it in San Jose, which is very willing to do it. And you get more tech, the tech business more. If you're in the Silicon Valley. So
San Jose is a good city. NoCal. NoCal versus SoCal.
there you go.
NoCal's fine.
We like NoCal.
We like NoCal.
We like NoCal. We're with NoCal.
We're with NoCal. All right, let's talk about the Cubs for a second. We're both pretty big Cubs fans. You have a 5-game win streak, get 1 game above 500. You lose to the Pirates. You lose to the Indians. You lose to the Indians again. 3-game losing streak now, just like that. There's a lot of highs and lows with this team, man, and it seems like the lows outweigh the highs for sure.
Get rid of the whole team. I've had my opinion change. I really thought that money-wise, we could pull it together and put together a team that could get to at least the wild card, at least make the playoffs, potentially win the division. I am wrong, Josh. I was very wrong. I don't think we have the money. I don't think that we're willing to pay the luxury tax.
Ricketts is a cheapo.
Yeah, but someone was telling me this last week. It's like it keeps getting more expensive. The more we add on to it, we're going to dig ourselves such a big hole. Trade everyone away. Get rid of the luxury tax. Reset it because it gets larger every year. You're over it. Reset the luxury tax. Let's restart everything. Sign a big prospect and go from there. That's where I'm at with the Cubs. This team sucks, and that's okay because the lovable losers will still love Wrigley Field. I'm excited for tickets to be closer to $40 instead of $70. But just gut the team.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
In the offseason, I thought there was no reason to gut him. Then you make that idiotic trade with you, Darvish. You get back Zach Davies, whoop-de-doo, and none of the top even 12 prospects for the Padres. And since then, I've said blow the whole thing up, and I have not left that train ever since. I think it's time. I've talked with countless number of Cubs fans. I think everyone's pretty much on the same page now. This team is not winning the division, let alone even getting to a wild card, NLDS, NLCS, whatever you want to say. I think that you got to choose one guy in the lineup, probably Rizzo because he's your captain. Keep him, trade everyone else, start over. It's hard to rebuild that long and know you're going to enter 4, 5, 6 years of failure, but Wrigley Field is still going to sell tickets now because Ricketts has made Wrigleyville Ricketts land, Cubs land. Still going to sell tickets, pile up some money, make some big moves, and be good again in 5 years. I don't know. This is not it. You're right. This team stinks.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's just going to get worse. The pitching staff is just not good. Other than that,
I mean, Bryant's playing MVP ball, but that's not going to last. He's sick now.
Yeah.
Like he's actually under the weather. He's sick, and then he goes in today and gets hit in the hand, so hopefully he's okay.
He's all right. Yeah, but I'd trade Bryant away, get rid of Javier Baez, sign Rizzo to a lucrative long time deal, and start over, man. You have guys who, David Bodie's a fine third baseman. No Chris Bryant, but he's good. So,
Nico Horner's a good second baseman.
Yeah.
Ian Happ you keep.
Yeah, Jason Hayward, I think he got locked up for a couple more years. You're okay with paying that. I don't think we're paying anyone on the starting rotation any kind of money. So that's
sad.
all good there.
We went from the high of all highs in 2016. Now, not only do you stink, but the White Sox on the south side of town are really, really good. And frankly, they're never going to outsell the Cubs, but they're going to outplay them for at least the next few years.
And they're finally winning games and actually scoring runs. Kudos to the White Sox for being better than their manager.
I was going to say, kudos to everyone besides Tony La Russa, who stinks. I thought that when they hired him, he might not win the clubhouse, but he'll never get outmanaged in a game. And not only does the whole team hate him, but he has no idea how to make a batting lineup or handle starters or relief pitching, which is not a good combination. The game's outdated for him. Not coaching since 2013 or 11 or whatever is not good.
They're winning the division. This is what matters. They swept the Royals, which is what you need to do to win that division. If they can beat the baseball team from Cleveland, they should be fine. They are fine. They're outmanaged. They're poorly managed, but they are outplaying their manager.
Then you're going to get a new manager next year, obviously. Don't do it in the middle of the year. But, hey, and they're doing this without Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez, too.
No, that's the most important part of it to me, is that they are winning despite their manager and two of their top 5 players being out.
I mean, this pitching staff is insane. You have Giolito, who was a top Cy Young candidate last year. Keuchel's won a Cy Young. Lance Lynn is super consistent. Kopech's going to be a beast, and he's not even starting right now. Rodon finally got it together through that no-hitter and has an ERA over 1. And then Dylan Cease has had 2 good starts in a row, too.
Yeah, he kind of blew up today or yesterday, but
they still won.
Yeah,
and then your bullpen, you have Bummer, you have Crochet, who's been okay, Kopech in there, and then one of the best closers in baseball, Liam Hendricks. Credit to the White Sox. I don't say that often, but good job, guys. You're doing things right on the south side. Now just get a new stadium and you're good.
Yeah, Han was a great hire. He's
fantastic.
Figured it out.
And he did not like the manager hire, and he's right, and he's going to go get a superstar to manage the team in the offseason.
AJ Hinch, man, he's still available.
They're going to get him. They'll steal him from Detroit. He is in Detroit, Patty, but they'll get him. Yeah. No one wants to be in Detroit right now. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Tomorrow is going to be the last show of the year until we come back in August. It's going to be Carson and I tomorrow because Gabby can't. But Patty, thank you, man, for being on. It's always a pleasure. Shout out to Brennan and Gabby, who can't be here the rest of the week, but it's been a lot of fun with them. So final show tomorrow. And that's going to do it for today. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Illini Drive.